Hi everyone, it's Simon Keeling here at weatherweb.net. It is Monday, the 6th of April. Thanks again for watching. Hope you had a good Easter day and that you're not feeling too sick today after all that chocolate that you that you consumed. Back to the gym, eh? Anyway, looks as if things are still on track to be turning more unsettled as we head towards the back end of this week and into next week. I still think there's much uncertainty over exactly how things develop, though. As always, the weather providing us with some challenges. This is the satellite picture from this morning, which shows lots of sunshine around across much of the country, but also low cloud too, particularly through the Irish Sea. And don't I just know it? I'm in West Wales, just about here. Also low cloud coming through parts of northwest England, running up through western Scotland, and more feeding down the North Sea as well. But if you're out of that low cloud and fog, just look at the perfect conditions. Lots and lots of sunshine around. Things improving through today, that cloud burning back to the coast. Gary's got more on that for you in the fast forecast. Plenty of talk today as well in the papers about the drought situation in California. And of course, as it gets spoken about and as it gets publicised, guess what happens? Yep, the skies open up and the rains arrive. This is the week 1 CFS forecast through to the 12th of April. And you notice here, look, excuse me, some rain coming into California. Just watch what happens though into week 2. There we go, most of California seeing some rain, so some relief to come there. It's great, isn't it, when the weather gods just turn against us like this and kind of just thumb their noses to us and say, well, there you are. You want a drought? I'm afraid it's not going to happen because there's a bit of rain. Having said that, lots of talk in California about water shortages, and I think this probably just ramps up the water shortage story to the top of the news agenda. And they'll probably start to get it sorted now. Well, probably get it sorted for the next few days. And then, of course, when the rain arrives, just like over here, politicians forget about it and move on to something else. Anyway, this is the 7 to 10 day mean of the ECMWF and the GFS on the right there. This takes us through from next Monday through to the following Wednesday. And what this picks up on from both is the trough that's out in the Atlantic there. Look, sharper on the GFS than it is on the ECMWF. And then look what happens. Flatter ridge from the ECMWF, sharper ridge from the GFS. So the sharper the trough, the sharper the ridge, and vice versa. But it's a deteriorating pattern, certainly, with that trough getting into the Atlantic. But I don't think models exactly have this pinned down just at the moment. This is the predicted surface pressure for Saturday. So this is the 11th. And you notice here, look, things have broken down by then, getting more into a westerly. But it's more of a temporary breakdown because pressure shown on the GFS as building back in again. This is by the 22nd, and once again, it's got high pressure situated off towards the east. I've got to say, huge question marks all over this one. I'm not sure this is the way this is going to develop once that westerly breaks through. Let me show you why. This is the 500 millibar height for today. Here's our high in the heights. There's the jet look up towards the north of the UK, pumping cold air excuse me, down into the Mediterranean and feeding these lower than normal heights down here across the western parts of the Black Sea. Also got this cut-off feature off the southwestern parts of Spain up towards the north of the Canaries there. And then by the end of this week, Saturday, which is the chart we've just seen, look, trough in the Atlantic, there's the jet pumping through the UK, one trough going through here, another trough coming through here. Now, what will happen is that as that trough out in the Atlantic spins its way eastwards, so that will become cut off as well. So it'll become one of these features down here. Now, when that happens, as in fact shown here by the 15th, what we'll tend to find is that we'll see a return into a stronger southwesterly jet through the British Isles. Remember, I've been telling you this date, 14th, 15th, for the major breakdown coming through. Yes, rain at the end of this week, particularly Scotland and Ireland and perhaps northwest England, but we're looking at the 14th and 15th for the major breakdown. But this shows the strong jet through the country a week on Wednesday. Another trough coming in here, look. Now, it's what happens to that that's of interest, because if that gets into here, deepens this up again, that could pump the ridge back northwards here. Now, that's the idea that was on the forecast chart I showed you a moment ago when we got the high pressure centred out here by the 22nd. That's what this GFS chart is trying to show. But there is an alternative solution to that, which is that as the cutoff gets down here. So what happens there is we do get it completely cut off, so it's spinning around like so, but the jet stays up towards the north like that, and the high gets into eastern parts of Europe, which would then leave us into a more unsettled second half to April, which of course would be consistent with the forecast that we've been putting out. Now if we just go forward to Friday the 17th, look what's happening. This is the trough feature in here, starting to cut off, trying to get into here. Look at the ridge. You see what the GFS is trying to do here? It builds to the ridge, and look, it continues to build the ridge, but it doesn't cut off this feature down here. The reason it doesn't do it is because the GFS can't do that within the resolution of the model itself, so the algorithms within it aren't allowing that to take place. Until that is, it becomes a real major feature, which is this one for Wednesday the 22nd. Now I think the overall pattern, if you remove the countries from that, the overall pattern the GFS has here is probably about correct. But I think what will happen is this cutoff here is going to be situated somewhere down here. The ridge itself is going to be somewhere in here. And the jet here that's up towards the north will be across something like that through the UK. Now it may mean that the southern half of the UK actually is in dry conditions, but the north and the west are in wetter, more unsettled conditions. So I think what we can deduce from this is that yes, the more unsettled weather breaks through all areas the 14th, 15th. It then goes unsettled for a time. We probably find southern areas getting back into some drier conditions, but still the threat of rain at times. But the north is in far more unsettled conditions, with some pretty hefty bursts of rain perhaps going through at times across Scotland, northern England and into Ireland during this second period of April. Now the rainfall forecast for the week ending the 12th of April looks something like this. This shows, look, the mainly dry conditions taking us up to the 12th, and it's got the high, look, centred down here across northern parts of Europe. It's got the jet up towards the north here. But then look at the breakdown that develops into week 2. This is towards the end of the 18th into the 19th. And look, you see it's got the more unsettled conditions trying to get through across the country. It's not drastically unsettled. And here is the trough in the Atlantic as far as the CFS sees it. Here's the low in the heights, look, across the western parts of the Mediterranean. This is trying to pump this feature like so. It brings more easterly winds through the east of the UK. They're the westerlies going over the top. So the CFS, although I again don't think it's got the details, is seeing some sort of story in there with those lower than normal heights getting into the Mediterranean. And then it keeps Europe unsettled through the week of the 26th. Bits and pieces of rain across the UK. It sees an easterly across the UK, without doubt here. This is an easterly pattern trying to get in. Puts a high down here. The ridge of sorts in here has the low in here, and the flow kind of coming around like so, which brings the easterly through the UK again, but has a ridge out towards the west. And then into the early part of May makes things far more unsettled with the westerlies breaking through. Again, I'm not entirely sure that the CFS has this story completely pinned down. I think we're going to find those westerlies going over the top. So going into Scotland, as I've said, and through Ireland and through northern England during the second half of the month, but the far south of the country probably staying on the drier side. Okay, I've wittered on enough, and still the fog persists out here in West Wales. If you're out of the fog or the low cloud, have a fantastic day and enjoy the sunshine. If you're in it, keep your fingers crossed. It should be breaking and burning back. But for now, I shall leave you with that. Whatever you're doing, have a great Easter Monday. Thanks again for watching, and keep the sun shining. Bye for now.